So something that I wanted to explore that I was realizing is so interesting is when you are so conditioned into being a people pleaser, right? The rescuer, right? The role as the rescuer. Obviously, you don't put yourself first. You don't even take your own wants and needs into consideration. You're living for other people. Every bit of your sense of self is being derived from other people, their validation. So it's external validation. What's so interesting about this, though, is that when you stop playing that role, you stop playing that role and you start to bring all of your energy and all of your awareness back to yourself. You kind of start to sit with yourself and you're like, well, if I don't have all of this, that, and the other to rescue and to take care of all these other people, like what I'm used to doing, what the fuck do I do with myself? Right? And it's just, it's so interesting because, like, when you realize that actually that way of living was so unhealthy because you were just in pure self-sacrifice mode, right? Like, you weren't even living for yourself. Like, any time that you could have taken to yourself, you didn't because it didn't feel right. It didn't make sense. It didn't feel normal or natural. Um, there are so many layers of conditioning that bring you to believe that you're somebody who just lives for everybody else. And so with that, there are so many challenges that come with just bringing all of your awareness and your attention and your energy back to yourself and doing for yourself. Something feels weird, something feels off. Um, that is sometimes the space that I'm in, and I realize that too. And then, like, actually transitioning from that to the mode of, like, putting myself first, putting my wants and needs first, and doing for myself before anybody else. Um, at first it was like, okay, this is different, um, and then it was like, oh, I can't do anything for anybody else until I do for myself. It's never going to work any other way. And it's interesting because I would argue that only unhealthy attachments, unhealthy relationships lead you to be that way. It's crazy to reflect on, on life and the way that I've approached relationships and realized that, like, a majority of everything that I've experienced has just been, like, not real. Like, it's just like the way that when you're coming from a place of people pleasing, your relationships are not going to be authentic because you're not safe, you're not secure, your wants and needs are not getting met. You don't even have boundaries because you don't know where you begin, where you end, where other people begin, where they end. You're highly attuned to people's energies and emotions, and you consistently feel like you are responsible for everyone else and all of their emotions and managing that. And they can't be not okay because if they are not okay, it usually means that there's something that you've done that's wrong, and you have to be the one to rescue that. So it's very interesting to, like, I think more so in the beginning, I should say, it's very interesting to be healing in that space because definitely in the beginning, I was just like, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. And now I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just exiting a role that was never mine to play, but I was conditioned into. Um, and it's just so interesting because I'm always fascinated to see people derive their sense of self externally, especially being somebody who did the same myself years ago. Um, it's very interesting to be in the space of awareness and just, like, explore what everything means because there's a lot here. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to understand. There's a lot to challenge, literally challenge. And one of the coolest things that I'm doing now is recognizing my place and not being the rescuer, but as well, um, utilizing healthy communication, right? It's very interesting when you've spent so much of your life being stressed and just, like, anxious and just like like hyper vigilant and everything, right? All the while realizing, oh, that's not healthy. Well, now realizing that, not seeing that back, that I've associated literally all relationships with that, and it's so interesting to now see that and be like, oh, yeah, never mind. That's not how things work. Um, So I'm kind of like, not kind of, I am setting the foundation for myself, of healthy standards moving forward and not settling for anything less. Healthy communication. I don't have to get, like, just like crazy and everything. I don't, and I'm not going to. And if the person that I'm with tries to get to that place, doesn't matter who it is, whoever I'm associating with at the point, I'm going to remove myself from the situation and then first explain that it's necessary to remove. Anyway, it's just very interesting to be at this point. I think that you get what I'm saying with the whole, like, communicating is foundational to every relationship. I've made a video before about this. Communication is foundational to every relationship. To be healthy, to be successful, to all that stuff. We have the capacity, we have the ability to communicate. We just need to use it.